It is an imperative to accept the perpetuity of spirit's evolution. 4. That unattainability of unattainability, which we cannot mention by name, which even our intuition cannot reach in any way, determines that spirits will never enter the state of total accomplishment, of absolute perfection, and will never ever be able to be free of their evolutionary needs. Therefore, the factor which determines the unattainability of universes for spirits also determines the truth of spirits that are not able to elude the imperative of endless evolution. The factor which determines the endless evolution of spirits also governs the truth that spirits will never attain the original principle. And the factor that determines that spirits will never be able to attain the original principle is the imperative of the unattainability of unattainability, which is above everything. Even its smallest relation to everything that is the whole of wholes is out of the question, and which is impossible to express by any name for all that cannot enter our minds, imaginations, feelings, but here, for the sake of exigency, we will mention a word without considering any of its connotations: Allah. God. Accepting this truth as it is, without hesitation and without making it a subject of discussion, is the greatest of the imperatives and also the only direction of the path of deliverance. Necessities coming from the original principle, oriented to evolutions of spirits. By entering from the uppermost boundary, these expressions are symbolic, of our universe, emerge as influences in the universe, and at the uppermost boundary of the universe, of which we do not know, by filtrating through the unitary, which will be discussed later, in accordance with the infinite possibilities of development and capability of matter combinations, as subjecting these and themselves to myriad formations, transformations and deformations, starting from the higher to the lower as they descend while expanding, scattering and reaching the points they would arrive at and manifesting in accordance with the needs of spirits. They accomplish their functions of indirect exchange between spirit and substance. Through whatever being, whichever stage each influence passes, it exactly carries a necessity. And this necessity contains the evolutionary needs of spirits which the matter or beings are subject to at the stage the influences arrive. Therefore, no particle of the universe is free of these influences. We repeat. The needs of spirits of which we can never appreciate and know their quality, reason, and results, because of the absolute and natural impossibility of our universe and their evolution, which we accept as the allotted share to our universe, are provided through applications in the universe in accordance with the necessities of sublime principles. In order to execute this purpose, necessities coming from the original principle are distributed across the unitary, which occupies the uppermost level of the universe, and there, these influences constitute a unity. So, these necessities, which are unified with the unitary, filtrate through the unitary as influences and are scattered to the communities, individuals, matter and beings, to all parts of matter down to the smallest particles as in accordance with the needs of each being, and generate myriad transformations, deformations and formations. And through this mechanism of influences, the progress and flow of the universe is achieved. The relations of beings with spirits, with each other and with matter are established, and so the development of the universe goes on towards its determined aim. We need to talk here about the concept of being, which we just mentioned, and which we will address again later. Being is a matter unit, more correctly a complex of the influences that carry the necessities of the original principle and pertain to spirits, a matter unit, which is synthesized by a given spirit through congregating among matter which is at a certain stage of development to service itself, until the end of universe. So, each being is an evolutionary vehicle assigned to the service of a certain spirit until the end of the universe. This is such a being that it expresses all necessities of spirit's behaviors which occur in the superuniverse plan. And these expressions are reflected to spirit as if reflected from a mirror. Therefore, the being is the symbol of a spirit, to whom it serves, in the universe. So, because the being in the service of a spirit completely expresses all the behaviors, stirrings, and needs of that spirit, we can also look at it as the spirit itself. For every manifestation that appears on that being is but an expression that is reflected to the universe, representing the appearance of spirit's behaviors, in proportion to the allowance of the matter possibilities it uses. And when spirit is no more, all expressions and manifestations belonging to it will vanish and the being will disintegrate at once. The being has a two-sided function in the universe. One of these is simply as a laboratory vehicle for the spirit, the other is as a symbol of spirit amidst matter. As a result of these two functions, the being also needs a field of application. Therefore, in order to properly reflect reactions the spirit awaits from it, it has to gather the necessary elements of these reactions from its milieu, that is, to procure from the beings and matter in its vicinity. Expanded knowledge will be given later on this topic. Now, here, a problem needs to be solved that may come up in mankind's minds. Seeing that the being is but matter combinations with all of its actions and activities, all of its emotions and thoughts, then what does it gain from serving a spirit which has no direct relation to itself? In other words, what will it achieve from going through bitter and sweet experiences, working, striving so much for the evolution of spirit, without even knowing about the quality and form of this, to whom it serves? And if one day, with the departure of that spirit from the universe, it will go back to its endless darkness as a zero after completing such advanced stages of development in parallel to the evolution of the spirit it serves, will all the activities it executed throughout the development of a universe be gratuitous? Such a thought that may arise in the minds of mankind can make them pessimistic and lead them to mental confusion. However, before anything else, if some deep thinking is conducted upon the knowledge we have given above about the relations of matter and spirit, it will be understood that the situations causing such discussions are only appearances and that the truth is not such. Nevertheless, this topic needs to be illuminated so as not to leave a dark spot in our thoughts. Let us take first, an amorphous matter. There is no motion, no form in it. But when this amorphous matter enters into the state of being, together with qualities that belong to the whole being, many capabilities and states occur in it, starting with the simplest and increasingly ascending, such as loves, sympathies, antipathies, compassions, acts of conscience, thoughts, judgments. Now, let us explain the relations of these manifestations with amorphous matter which may compel the minds of mankind. In truth, all ways of humane action, moods, emotions, and thinking, beliefs of people to which they attribute spiritual values and consider supramatter are but matter function whose liquidity is in increase. However, until now, mankind should not have to see this truth so openly. Not until they could execute tests and experiences that had to be undergone in these realities safely and soundly. But now, today, truths are explained as they are. For, mankind has attained the strength of learning the truths openly. It is possible to give many examples from the world on this topic. The purest, the most sentimental and ideal emotions, thoughts and acts which appear as supramatter are only the manifestations of the most fluid material possibilities of the world. Many actions that are given an expressive quality by mankind as emotional acts, involving love are the expression of a high possibility to sympathize, of a high matter fluidity, of a high matter capability of encounter, interaction, and encompassment. Likewise, all antipathies, sympathies, grudges, cruelties, selfishness, altruism, self-devotion, gratification, bliss, suffering, in short, all values pertaining to all feelings and ideas that are called subjective. Imaginations, thoughts, ideals, faiths, creeds, powers of invention and creativity, talents, genius, passions, desires, afflictions, habits, and all states that are called psychological, fears, courageousness, treacheries, truculence, feelings of good and bad, etc., are the manifestations of energies of various kinds that diffuse from matter that exists on earth, but is not recognized yet by the comprehensions of mankind. Therefore, mankind's mastering these, overcoming these, means their mastering matter, overcoming matter. In none of all these realities called spiritual, moral, or psychological has matter been overstepped. What has been used here is always matter. However, to know this has not been possible for mankind until now, and this was, as we said, a necessity. This truth will be known by mankind from now on. We had previously said that there are many other elements above and below of the matter parts and elements constituting the earth, and these are not yet known by mankind. Similarly, we had also mentioned that in these elements unrecognized by mankind, there is a constitution of hydrogen atom of such quality that it exhibits substance states in completely different capabilities which are above and beyond the knowledge of mankind about all manifestations of energy radiating from an atom. Material possibilities radiate from this hydrogen atom unknown to mankind and are so fluid and powerful as to compel the comprehension of mankind, prepare the possibility for and cause the occurrence of many events that mankind has never been able to comprehend so far. In summary, spirit is involved with matter. It brings about the state of conscious matter that is called body. Afterwards, spirit is completely bound by the conditions of that body. And within these conditions, all of its states that are called spiritual, moral, and psychological, other than its organic activities, are bound by the brain and nervous system, that is, by the possibilities and capacities of the brain and nervous system. We will later explain the roles of states and actions assumed to belong to spirit, but which, in truth, originate in matter, in the evolution mechanism. But so far, we have always talked about the side of these states that belongs to matter. If this was all there was, then it would necessitate justifying the anxieties, which we mentioned above, that people fret about. But despite the truths we have just explained, if we bear in mind the essential knowledge about matter, that it is powerless for any motion by itself, things will change. For, this knowledge teaches us that no stirrings in matter are by the matter itself. Matter is absolutely devoid of power to do this. Therefore, any motion, any stirring of a being is the expression of a situation that has not been caused by itself. And there cannot be anything else. Otherwise, it would entail rejecting the main quality of matter, and this is not possible. So, we name all expressions which are not matter the being displays in all of these motions that are matter, the state of spirit in our universe. Thus, sublime manifestations called psychological, such as all kinds of love, thought, conscience that have occurred in a being through infinite motions, combinations, forms and states as matter, are in effect the counterparts of spirit's infinite behaviors which exist in its own plan and, unknown to us, have been translated into ideal, emotional and vital forms in accordance with the matter possibilities of the universe. Therefore, in belonging to being, it leaves nothing else but matter motions, and it makes it clear that all meanings and expressions in these motions belong to spirit. As an example of this, let us take comprehension. Mankind comprehends. Who comprehends is mankind. In their nervous system structure, there are such subtle combinations that these are continuously transmitting and receiving vibrations, energies that manifest as comprehension. And the health or ill health of the comprehension capability depends on the motions that occur as a result of interventions which are carried out by external influences through the duality principle and value differentiation mechanism upon these very subtle matter combinations in the nervous system, which transmits and receives these energies. So, comprehension with its outer appearance occurs in matter and emerges with material vibrations. Therefore, it is a matter. Nonetheless, at the same time, it is also a counterpart, an expression of spirit's behaviors in matter that is reflected in the universe as if reflected from a mirror. That is, comprehension's state in motion belongs to matter, and its state in regard to expression belongs to spirit. So, this expression that belongs to states of spirit which are supra-universe has been only interpreted and represented by the comprehension mechanism in the universe through depending on the possibilities of matter motions, within a completely material reality. More briefly, comprehension is the technical expression of a behavior in matter, which exists in spirit, with a quality that is unknown by the inhabitants of the universe. So, a day will come when the spirit will abandon the being depending on it in the universe for all time, and the abandoned being will disintegrate. But what will disintegrate are only the combinations, forms and motions of matter that carry these emotions, ideas, and many more of these myriad expressions of which we do not know and which are to come in future. And originals of these states in spirit, of their quality we cannot know, that appear in matter motions will continue their infinite occurrence and flow, together with spirit. Actually, the loss of all those expressions the being carries with the departure of spirit, and its returning back its inert and amorphous state at once constitutes the most obvious proof of this truth. Thus, in this way, we have expressed the fact that states that occur in a being are in effect only material symbols, material appearances each of much vaster and encompassing states and behaviors that exist in the realm of spirits, of whose quality we do not know. That is why when being is spoken of, we remember spirits and understand that events involving beings only belong to their counterparts in the realm of spirits, of whose quality we do not know.